Imagine this. You stand in a vast ancient library, one that stretches beyond sight in every direction. The air smells of yellowed parchment and iron gall ink. Countless leather-bound volumes line the shelves, each spine etched with gilded titles. You can't quite decipher. Then you see it. On a pedestal at the center of the labyrinth rests a single book, its cover blank. When you reach for it, your fingers pass through the surface like mist. A whisper echoes from nowhere and everywhere at once. This is your life, and you've never read it. You wake gasping. You carry a story inside you, a living epic of choices, traumas and transcendent moments, yet most of it remains unread, not forgotten but unlived. You remember your past as facts, not experiences. You plan your future as projections, not possibilities. Your present, a blur of reactions, rarely presence. You are both author and illiterate. The questions that will haunt you. What if your life is just the footnotes of a text you've never seen? Who or what has been narrating your story while you weren't looking? How much of your suffering comes not from circumstance but from misreading yourself? The weight of unread pages. Consider that childhood humiliation you still flinch from. You've memorized the shame but not the lesson. That relationship that shattered you. You recite the betrayal like scripture, but ignore the love that made it. Hurt. Your daily routines. Marginalia scribbled by societal demands, not your soul's hand. You treat existence as a transcript to skim, rather than a sacred text to decipher. This is not a metaphor. This is cognitive blindness, a neurological and spiritual failure to read the reality unfolding within you. And like all blindness, those afflicted rarely know what they cannot see until now. The tragedy is not that we don't read our own lives, it's that we've been trained not to. The original sin. How society steals your narrative. From the moment. You could comprehend language. You were handed pre-written scripts, family myths. We're the kind of people who... Educational indoctrination. This is how the world works. Cultural hypnosis. Success looks like. Happiness means. Like a medieval scribe copying texts they don't understand, you inherited interpretations of reality rather than the tools to interpret it yourself. Carl Jung saw this clearly. People don't have ideas. Ideas have people. The neurological lock-your. Brain conspires against your awakening through the narrative fallacy. Taleb. You force events into coherent stories, smoothing over contradictions. Example, everything happens for a reason, is cognitive pacification, autobiographical blindness memories. Aren't recordings but reconstructions, edited each time recalled. Studies show we change our past to fit our present self-concept, the default mode network. This brain network activates when mind-wandering. It doesn't explore, it recycles familiar thought loops. You don't experience life, you experience your brain's simulation of life. The philosophers who tried to warn Kierkegaard, life can only be understood backwards, but it must be lived forwards, yet we do neither. We sleepwalk sideways. Nietzsche. All things are subject to interpretation. Whichever interpretation prevails is a function of power, not truth. Your truth is often someone else's power play. Huxley. Man is an intelligence not served by but enslaved to his organs. Your biology keeps you prisoner to simplified stories. The cultural machine modernity perfected 3 weapons against self-reading. The cult of busyness, no. Time to reflect. No chance to question. Digital identity. Theft. You outsource your story to social media's highlight reel, the commodification of meaning. Discover yourself. Result? Most lives become reaction fan fiction, endless sequels to a book they never chose. Now you see the cage. But here's the more terrifying question. What if you're afraid to read your own book because you suspect you won't like the protagonist? You walk through life wearing another man's eyes. The tragedy isn't just that you don't read your own story, it's that this illiteracy rewrites reality itself. The butterfly effect of self-ignorance, the phantom self. You make decisions based on who you think you are, a construct, not who you actually are, the unread text result. A life of subtle incongruence, like shoes always half a size too small. The echo chamber of memory, your past becomes a hall of mirrors reflecting interpretations. That childhood trauma, retold so often it's now literary fiction, that triumph, polished into mythology until it bears no resemblance to the raw event. The future as forgery, your ambitions are often reactions to unlived pain. The rebel becomes what they hate. The people-pleaser builds a prison of others' expectations. The body keeps score, even when the mind lies. Modern research reveals unexamined emotions metastasize as physical illness. Gabor Mate's work. The gut feeling you ignore is often your unread wisdom speaking. Chronic fatigue frequently stems, not from overwork but from meaning starvation. Your flesh is parchment, where the truth writes itself in scars and tension. The social contract of delusion we collectively agree to call midlife crises phases, to medicate existential pain as chemical imbalances, to pathologize those who read too deeply, see overthinker as insult. This isn't conspiracy, it's collusion. A silent pact to keep the pages closed. The cognitive trap, 3 lethal thought patterns, the completed story illusion. I know myself is the most dangerous sentence, the false dichotomy factory, either or thinking about identity, am I X or Y? When reality is and the comfortable lie feedback. Loop each self-deception makes the next easier. Here's what no one tells you. The pain of staying unread eventually surpasses the terror of reading. That quiet midnight when the mask cracks. That inexplicable rage at happy platitudes. That sudden urge to burn your life down. These aren't breakdowns, they're your soul's footnotes demanding attention. The moment you realize you've been living someone else's story is the moment your own can begin. But freedom isn't found. It's forged. Here's how to become both author and archaeologist of your existence. The first law of self-recovery. You cannot read a book while still writing it. This is why most self-discovery fails. We try to analyze ourselves while remaining trapped in the same patterns. True reading requires radical pauses, moments of non-doing where the subconscious surfaces. Embodied inquiry. Truth lives in your gut, not your rationalizations. Shadow dialogues, conversations with the parts you've disowned. The decoding manual step. 1. Rewild your attention. Spend 3 days noting every time you say, I am, then burn the list. Follow bodily unease, that tension when you lie to yourself. Like breadcrumbs, collect artifacts, childhood drawings, old journals, as textual evidence. Step 2. The anti-autobiography. Write your life story. 3 ways. As a tragedy as. A comedy as a sacred text. The truth is in the cracks between versions. Step 3. Ritual unreading. Sit with a certain memory until it becomes strange. Reinterpret one past event daily. What if this was actually? Speak aloud the sentences you've been too afraid to think. The warrior reader's histories, liberated minds, all shared one practice. Marcus Aurelius wrote to himself, not for others. Anais Nin kept dual diaries, one for society, one for her soul. Nietzsche composed in walks, letting thought and terrain intertwine their secret. They wrote to discover, not to prove. The living palimpsest. Your life isn't one narrative but many overwritten. The official version, resume self. The private myth, what you believe at 3 a.m. The body's truth, what your illnesses and pleasures confess. The unlived life, paths not taken that still haunt you. The art is to hold all versions without reconciling them. This work has a cost. Relationships may shatter. Not everyone wants the real you. Careers might crumble. Authenticity disrupts systems. Certainty. We'll die, but was it ever alive? Yet the reward is the only thing worth having. A self you don't need to escape from. You've reached the last page, but the revelation isn't what you expected. The paradox of self-knowledge. The book of your life was never meant to be fully read. Only continuously read. Absolute self-awareness is impossible. The observer changes the observed. Total coherence is delusion. You contain multitudes, as Whitman knew. The moment you claim to know yourself, you've stopped growing. The truth? You are both the text and the margin notes arguing with it. The liberating Lee. You must believe two contradictory truths. Your life has profound meaning. You invent that meaning as you go. This is what Nietzsche meant by become who you are, not discovery, but creation in real time. The practice of living poetry. Stop trying to find yourself. Instead, write one true sentence each morning, not I am, but today I feel. Collect paradoxes. Your cowardice contains courage. Your rage holds love. Let your life rhyme. Patterns will emerge without force. Close the book. Now, begin.